Hi guys, welcome to this my video on the area of a triangle. You're going to turn around and say, area of a triangle? Did I load the wrong video? Isn't this a year 11 video? Well, it is, but it's actually building on from the sine and cosine rule. So area of a triangle is going to use for non-right angle triangles. The world goes crazy. Yes or no? Now you're probably wondering if the first time you've tuned in, what the Chuffineck I'm doing. Well, my name's Darren from mathsguru.com. Yes, mathsguru.com, my little corner of the interweb. And I'm going to try and make maths as easy and amusing and as interesting as I possibly can, which is pretty hard, bearing in mind it's maths. Yeah, I have one favour to ask before I go any further, and can you just subscribe to my YouTube channel? I know, sad and lonely that I am, but so few people actually watch these things that every time someone clicks subscribe, it actually gives me a little bit of a buzz. It actually goes, and I'm like, yay, someone else has actually watched the video. And it just motivates me to keep going, pretty much. So yeah, if you find the video useful, if you can subscribe, that would be great. Now, I'm not going to read the learning objectives, but it is there for you. But believe it or not, this is actually the last video in this particular series, or this particular chapter. And I am deeply grateful to Cambridge for allowing me to use their textbook exercises and bits and pieces. You guys absolutely rock. Thank you so very, very much. Now, last time we'd looked at the cosine rule. And before that was the sine rule, and we've done trig and all this type of stuff. So I think this is a little bit easier if we understand the general idea of what I've been talking about before. And that is for non-right angle triangles, and this is a non-right angle triangles, we have an angle and a side that's pretty much associated with it. When we had the angle and the side together, we could use the sine rule to find other angles and other sides. If I have two sides and a huggable angle, yeah, I know, I don't know what you're talking about either, then basically we can use the cosine rule. But what if we wanted to try and find the area of a triangle that's not right angle? Now you're going to try and say, well, what do you mean? Isn't it always base times height divided by 2? And only when it is in fact right angled. But there is another way of doing this, and the world goes crazy, as I say. But again, just be very, very aware of what an included angle is. And what I say is an included angle is an angle that fits between two sides that we know. Right, so as I normally do now, because this is the general maths course and all you're really interested in is a formula, no it's not, is give you the formula. So here we go. So we have the idea that the area of any triangle, believe it or not, is equal to 1/2 times A times B times sine C. And you're going to turn around and say, well, what on earth are A, B, and sine C? Well, again, if this is my side A, and that is B, then this here is capital C. That's my angle, and that's very much what we've got here. So, side length 1, side length 2, and the included angle. So again, very much like the cosine rule, makes life a lot easier. But again, as I say over and over and over and over and over and over again, please, please, please make sure that your calculator is in fact in degrees mode, all right? If it isn't in degrees mode, then life is going to get very, very funky for you because you're not going to be able to actually get the right answers. So DEG. If you've got the class pad, I don't know how to change it. I can't quite remember, but if you've got the TI Inspire, you just click on the DEG as I say there. Right, let's have a look at a few examples. This really won't be a very long video, guys, but find the area of the triangle shown to 1 decimal place. Now, again, what I tend to do is I say to myself, do I have 2 lines and an included angle or a huggable angle? I absolutely do. So in which case, it's just basically using the formula. I now know that the area of this is going to be 1/2 times, well, let's call that A, let's call that B, and let's call that capital C. All right. Now, again, I don't really care what letters they've written on here. I'm just going to use the ones that sort of fit with the formula to make life a little bit easier. And I can relabel the triangle. It doesn't matter. So 1/2 times A, which is 6, times B, which is 5. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Because that almost looks like the formula for 1/2 base times height. But it isn't, because we've got to continue. We've got to go times the sine of my included angle, which is 135. Now what I'm going to do is fire up my calculator. And there we go. There is my TI Inspire. Again, ClassPad users, sorry. Again, most of the functionality is pretty much the same. And if it isn't, I'll do what I can to show you. I'm just waiting for my ClassPad license to renew. So what I'm going to do here is go menu and add a calculator. I know lots of you out there use the Scratchpad. I hate the Scratchpad. You've got a calculator screen there. It makes life a lot easier to use that one. But anyway, we'll move on. So what do I want to do? I want a half, which I know is 0.5 times 6 times 5 times. And I want to do the sine. So I'm going to hit trig and then sine. of 135. You don't need the degree symbol. My calculator's in degrees mode, and there we go. So the area of my triangle is going to be given by what I wanted to one decimal place, 10.6 centimeters, and because it's area, squared. Do that on an exam. I can't see how you wouldn't get full marks, yeah, because I've got a formula, a substitute, and a solve. Find the area of the triangle shown to one decimal place. Is it a right angle triangle? We don't know. It doesn't say. But what it does do is it gives me a side, and a huggable angle, or an included angle. So I'm just going to do the same thing. So I know my area is going to be given by a half times A times B times the sine of angle C. Well, that's C. That's going to be my little a, and that's going to be my little b. I don't care about the p, the q, the r. I'm not interested. I know a, b, and the angle inside is c. So that's going to become a half times 4 times 7 times the sine of 70 degrees. Again, we don't need the degree sign. I just put it there through habit. How am I going to do this? Use my calculator. So 0.4 times 4 times 7 times the sine, trig and sine of 70, hit enter, and ka-ching, out comes, what does we want here? One decimal place again, 13.2. So 13.2, and again, centimeters, and don't forget the squared because it's area. Find the area of the triangle shown to one decimal place. Oh my goodness, now we start to panic because I don't have side lengths. I've only got one side length. That's inside my triangle. That's no use to me. I've just been learning about the sine rule. I need two sides and a huggable angle. There's no, because we're trying to trick you. And again, be aware that not every triangle now is going to require a half times A times B times sine C. If they give you the base and they give you the height and they tell you that with the right angle, then just go back to the rule. So we know in this situation, the area is going to be a half times base times height. So 7 3s are 21. Half of 21 is 10.5. So in that situation, 10.5 meters and squared. I could use my calculator for that, but I'm not going to use my calculator for that. Find the area of the triangle shown correct to one decimal place. Again, have they given me two outside lengths? Well, you might turn around and say, yeah. They've given me this one here and they've given me 4. But that's not. That, again, is the height of the triangle. Again, mainly given away by the fact that I've got that right angle. And as I teach all of my students, when I've got a right angle, it's really pointing to the two sides that you need to multiply together. So there's my right angle, and I think of it as by putting two arrows on the end and going, here, choose me, choose me, choose me. So because this is a base of 8 and a height of 4, I know my area is going to be a half times base, which is 8, times 4. Well, 8 times 4 is 8, 16, 24 for 32, and a half of 32 is going to be 16. My units are meters. We'll do a squared. Ka-ching. Thank you very much. Now, obviously, there are other ways of finding the area of a triangle. We've looked at the half base times height. Ka-ching. What did we just look at? Oh, a half AB times the sine of C when we got an included angle. What about this one here? Well, obviously, I've got, when I do this with my kids at school, they go, well, it's Heron's rule, isn't it, sir? And I'm like, well, okay, you can read. So again, Heron's rule says that the area, when you've got all three sides of a triangle, is given by that. S minus A, S minus B, and S minus C, where S is. So the first thing you need to do is you work out the value of S, which is basically all three side lengths added together and divided by 2. Lots of people, sadly, make a silly mistake here and think you're going to do divide by 3. It isn't. So in this situation, we would know that S would be equal to 6 plus 9 plus 11 divided by 2. So 26, so that's going to give me 13. So S is 13, not kilometers, not centimeters, it's just 13. So now we know the area is going to be given by the square root of, I'm going to do that in a moment, of S, which is 13, times S minus A, which is 13 minus A. Well, what's A? Oh, it's a side length. All right, so 13 minus 6 times S minus B. What's B? Well, it's a different side length, 9. And if you're asking why I'm choosing A as 6, B as 9, and C as 11, it doesn't actually matter which way you do it. Times, and then what do we got? S, which is 13, minus C, which is 11. I always do my square root sign too early, but I'm now going to do it last. So then what do we have here? We have 13 times 13 minus 6 is going to be 7, times 13 minus 9 is going to be 4, times 13 minus 11 is 2, square root of, Can I do that in my head? No, why would I bother? Oh, I've just covered all my working out. So I'm going to actually hide this calculation, guys. I'll show you in just a minute. So on the square root of 13 times 7 times 4 times 2. So I'll show you actually what that looks like on my calculator. 13 times 7 times 4 times 2. And I'm going to hit enter. And what am I going to get? Find the area of the farm to the nearest square kilometre. And again, it's really, really important that you make sure you read the units they want to round to, or the units, or the sort of the accuracy, if you were, because so many kids in general maths lose marks by just ignoring the rest of the sentence. To the nearest square kilometre, that means to the nearest whole number. So in which case, if I rounded that to the nearest whole number, it would give me 27 kilometres. Because it's squared, or because it's area, I would do squared. Find the area of the triangle shown to one decimal place. Again, have I got an included angle? No. Is it right angled? Nothing on there says it's right angled, so we're going to have to use Heron's formula. So once again, we're going to have S is equal to 8 plus 7 plus 9 divided by 2, which is 15, 24. So that's going to be 12, I believe. Let's just make sure 15, 24, yeah, 12. And again, we just bang it into the formula. So my area is going to be equal to S, which is 12, times S minus A, well, let's call that A, B, and C. So 12 minus 8 times 12 minus 7 times 12 minus 9. All it is the value of S minus each of the side lengths, and then I'm going to draw my square root sign in after so that it fits perfectly. So that's going to be 12 times 4 times 5 times 3. Again, cannot do that in my head. I have no interest in doing it in my head. So let's do a control and that one there. And then what have we got? We've got 12 times 4 times 5 times 3. Hit enter, and that gives me, to a decimal place, 26.8. 26.8. 26.8 meters. And because it's area, it is squared. And believe it or not, that is it for this video. How many was that? 13 minutes. I'm on a roll. Nothing more to that. All right, just practice makes perfect. All right, whatever textbook you're using, now fire up as many questions as you can and try and work out where the tricks are and where they might sort of trip you up in an exam. But I'm going to call it a day for this video. And in fact, this module of work, I'm going to move on to something a little bit more exciting. Hopefully, I'll see you in that. My name's Darren from Maths Guru. Again, sign up if you can. It's there for you to use. Free to sign up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right, again, I cannot tell you how excited I get every time I get a new subscriber. It's nuts, really. You would imagine there would be a tablet for it, but there isn't. All right, take care. I'll see you again, hopefully in another video.